Hello, and welcome back to Regulating and Raising. I'm MaKenzie, and I'm so glad you're here today. We're going to talk about something super juicy today that just came to me, and it's been on my heart for a couple because obviously my background is, if you've been following along, I started my career as a fitness coach about 3 years ago. And I feel like that's just truly where my passion lies. I am I feel like the most educated in it. I feel like that's the talk that I know the most is like wellness, fitness, eating, nutrition, gut health. And so I'm like, how do I tie in human design and that part of my life? And I can't believe it's taken me some time to share this because I've used it, for my wellness routines over and over again. I think I just need to be super specific with it. I know that. So first off, in this episode, I'm going to say what it is, and then I'm going to kind of explain it and what I mean. So first off, the reason none of the diets that you have ever probably done have ever worked because, or maybe they worked for a little bit and then stopped working. I feel like the yo-yoing diets, that is such a thing. You see so many people, lose the weight and gain the weight. And I was in that bucket as, well, I was part of that, always chasing what's the next diet, like Kayla Einstein's, I was always trying to figure out what who's the next best, coach, the next best workout program. And it's, the reason why, you're probably sitting there being like, yeah, that's me too. But it's not because you're lazy. And I saw this firsthand when I was coaching, the women were they did amazing. Literally all my clients, I love them so much. And, they just, some of them wanted to, didn't always achieve the number goal that they wanted, but they achieved so much more than that. But I wanted to get them, I wanted to get things that would actually work for people and that I would know instead of just giving them, my protocol because I know that I'm different. I have different, amount of kids. I have different lifestyle. I'm just a different individual than them. So expecting them to get the same results and enjoy everything that I, put in front of them and what I've done, was just not sustainable for them. And so, and also not sustainable for me and what I have found. It's definitely not a lack of discipline. It is not because you need to try harder or push more or finally find the right plan. The reason is just so much simpler, so much more freeing than that. And you have been following directions that were not written for your body. And that's it. That is the whole thing. And once I figured out that, my entire relationship with food and movement in my body and my own nervous system completely changed. So today, I am going to talk to you about what I used to be doing, what changed, and the framework I have built around all of that, and where to start if any of this is hitting you, straight in the chest. So, anyways, let's dive in even more. So, for years I was the woman with all of the tracking, the spreadsheets, the apps, the journals. I was counting macros. I was, tracking every meal. I was waking up at 5 a.m. to do a HIIT workout before the kids were up. I had the meal prep containers. I had, the trainer. I had this, constant background noise in my head all day long about what I could eat, what I could not eat, when I could eat it, what I owed my body for eating it, and what I needed to do to earn the next meal. And the wildest part is, I thought that was discipline. I thought that was the whole thing. I thought that was health. I thought that was the work of being strong, fit, and a shape mom. And I soon realized that that wasn't it. There was a point after my third kid, and I got back into the gym at 6 weeks. I was like, yes, I'm a mom. I just had my third baby and I'm back at the gym. Look at me. I wanted to be a motivator for other women, but really I was hurting my own nervous system. Like I was pushing myself past a capacity and making myself seriously sick, depressed, anxious, all of the things. And so I realized like I was doing Beachbody, a program, and like I just was like, I was annoyed by the coaches and I love them and I love Beachbody. If that works for you, like awesome. But I was just annoyed by the coaches. Like I didn't want to wake up at, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to go work out and like do this hardcore, workout. And yes, you can do it. Like I didn't want that. And honestly, I was so exhausted because Bane was in his like heightened state of like waking up like every single hour. And I just was like, okay, I'm going to listen to you and surrender and just like realize like this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I feel like that was the moment where I'm like, there's got to be another way. So I, was living in this body though for years. And what nobody had told me is like, no trainer, no coach, no influencer was the entire system I was following was not built for my body. So even like what I was teaching before, like wasn't even built for my body. So I'm a generator, which means, well, I also have an emotional authority and I do have a specific determination. I have a specific environment, a specific way my body's meant to take in fuel, energy, and information. And I was doing basically not the complete opposite, but pretty close to the complete opposite of every single piece of it. So no wonder I was chronically exhausted. Like, no wonder I, felt bloated. No wonder I was dreading every, workout. No wonder I could not stop thinking about food, especially because I was breastfeeding at the time. And, I feel like that's another, thing that you just kind of put on yourself during that journey is what you're intaking. Is it, especially with Bane and his eczema, like, what I'm eating, is it hurting him? So I was just like constantly like stressed about food. My body was literally like screaming at me. Like I just felt physically exhausted and I was calling it just lack of willpower. Like I should, still be able to do, all those things. Shoulder. And the shift, it didn't happen like all at once. Like I didn't just like wake up one day. It happened very, 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 very slowly in my postpartum. After Bane, my third, my body, like I said, had just finally stopped letting me push. Like the way that I had been pushing my entire life. Like it literally shut down. And when I say literally, like I would say it was more like not necessarily physically, yes. Like I couldn't, like I told, like I, people in my inner circle, I'll talk more about this day, but it's coming up on a year where I did decide to take a leave of absence from my corporate job. And it was mainly because I physically, mentally was just depleted. I couldn't put one foot in front of the other. And that is when I found human design. And the second I started learning how my body was actually built is like when everything really started to land. I stopped doing HIIT workouts, which has been amazing for me. I always dreaded like jumping up, jumping down. But like I said, there's people out there who love it. Like I love that for them. That's amazing. It's an amazing workout. It's so great, like with community. Like, yes, if that's what works for you. I started strength training in a way my body actually liked because I feel like before with, I've done some of the beach body workouts and just, a lot of times the strength training are with males. And I just didn't vibe well with like a man being like, push it harder, lift it. Like, that's just me. I added shaking because I learned that my nervous system needed to release the pressure I had been carrying. I quit counting macros entirely. I started eating in a way that my chart said my body could actually digest and absorb food, which means for me, like specific conditions, specific timing, and specific kinds of presence at the table. I started regulating my emotional authority by riding the wave instead of like forcing decisions on the spot. I cleared my environment and I actually let myself rest. And 3 babies in, I can seriously say, like, I am stronger, I'm fed, I'm regulated, and I am the most at home in my body that I've ever been. Like, I love my body more than I have ever loved it. And with, the reasoning why, and I don't say that to be like arrogant, but I love it with my stretch marks. with my, saggy, empty breastfed, boobs. Like I love it with, my jigglier, butt. I love it because my body has held 3 babies, and that is the part, like, also, like, how I am where I am today. And with this is all, like, without constant food noise. This is all without the grind that I thought I needed, without the 5 a.m. workouts, without, all the tracking. This is super intuitive way of wellness. And that is what truly works. That is what I want for every mom to understand is the grind was never built for you. Your design was though. So let me explain the framework because I have been teaching this, for some time now. I've been teaching human design for some time now, but the Nourishment Code is something new that I feel like just really simplifies what human design and like the first step it can do to change your life. Cause I feel like that's what it first did for me was showcase this and gave me like way more direction and intuitive and taught me like how to actually, live in my truest version of myself. So it's the layer underneath every diet. It's the layer underneath every protocol, your workouts, every wellness trend that you've ever tried. It's what makes them work or not work for you. And it's actually been sitting in your human design your whole life. So there's 5 layers. The first layer is your type. So your type tells you how your energy is meant to move. So generators, they have sustainable responsive energy. Manifesting generators, they move fast and pivot. Manifestors, they initiate and burst and rest hard. Projectors are not built to keep up with the constant output the world demands. And reflectors, they mirror the energy of everything around them. So that's the first layer. The second layer is your authority. This is how your body's meant to make decisions, including decisions about food, training, rest. Your sacral authority decides in sound. Your emotional authority needs to ride the wave. Your splenic authority knows in a single quiet beat. And when you make decisions in a way your authority is not built for, you spend energy that you don't have, you can't afford. The third layer is your defined and undefined centers. So this tells you what your body broadcasts and what it absorbs. So your open centers are not your weakness. They are your receivers. So if you have an undefined solar plexus, you are actually absorbing the emotional energy of every room you walk into. If you have an undefined root, you are absorbing the pressure that was never yours. This matters enormously for how you eat, move, and regulate. The fourth layer of this code is your determination. And this is the layer that I will say like almost no one teaches, and it's like probably my favorite because I feel like I came such from a, thick background in wellness. Specifically, this is about eating. Your determination tells you the exact conditions your body needs to actually digest and absorb the food you put in it. So some bodies need quiet, some need conversation, some need variety, some need to follow cravings, some need to eat the same thing for weeks at a time. The food itself is only half of the equation. The conditions you eat in is the other half. The fifth layer to this is your environment. And this is interesting because it tells you the kind of physical space that your nervous system actually feels safe in. So mountains, shores, cities, kitchens, quiet activity. The wrong environment is the one area that can be the most expensive way a woman can leak energy. So it can really deplete our energy if we're in the wrong environment. And almost no one is even aware that the environment is on their human design chart. But also that their environment does play into how they digest their food. So if you put all 5 of these together, you have your nourishment code. And that's basically the exact instructions to your body that it's given you in writing that is finally readable and something that you can actually live by. So here's what changes when you actually live from your code. Your food, it gets quieter. The constant thinking about like what you should not eat like fades because you're finally understanding like what your body's asking for and you trust it. movement gets fun again. Like I woke up this morning at 6 o'clock and I went on my walk. I've been walking with no phone, which has been life changing. I leave it at home. I don't know, it's maybe like a 15-minute walk. And then I did my strength training, which I like am obsessed with. Like this is like the third week that I'm actually like in a consistent like workout routine that it just feels right. Like the strength training, like I would lift weights like here and there, but never like super consistent where I had like a program that I'm, working towards and I don't know, it just feels so good and I get excited for it. But I really want to get into like pickleball and, hiking is another way and tennis and even just stretching. Like those are all ways fun ways to move your body because you stop forcing yourself into workouts that drain you and you start choosing the ones that fill you up. My sleep deepens, your sleep, you'll feel it, you'll rest better because you're just more in alignment. Your nervous system settles, your relationship with your body softens completely. You just know that this is what's right. You stop like white knuckling, you stop chasing, you stop trying to discipline yourself into a body that was never going to look like the one in the magazine. That's one thing that I've really changed too is like, I'm not trying to look like anybody else but myself. I know that like after finding human design as well, it just kind of solidified like we are all so different. Our bodies are different, our minds are different, the way that we think and act and react, like it's all different. And that's what makes the world like so beautiful. So embrace that. And you start to really inhabit the one you actually have, which when fed and moved and regulated correctly, that your body, is just more beautiful than any of the others like could have been. So last night, I will tell you, like I really have been like getting really granule with the Nourishment Code. And like dinner times, like I am tired of like sometimes like eating so fast and like Bane's like taking it off my plate. And like I'm not even really, I'm just going through the motions and just like, nourishing my body, which like I need to do a lot of the times. And don't get me wrong, like it's fine, but it just felt like super chaotic last night. And I'm like, you know what? My body doesn't want to eat right now. It doesn't want to eat when everybody else is eating dinner. Like this is just like how I felt last night. So I was like, Trevor, I don't want to eat right now. I'll see if I'm hungry, later. And so I put Bane to bed and then the kids had their baths. And, after I got out of Bane's room, it's like, okay, my body's hungry. Like I just want a nice, like slow meal. And cause like Trevor made like a really, like it was ground beef and like Chinese and sweet potatoes, something like that. It was really good. So I sat there while the kids watched a movie before dinner or before bedtime and ate just super slowly. And like my body just like was just like, it felt cozy. This is what's possible. And it's not in years. It's not after enough effort. It's not once you know how to, read your chart, you can figure this out like right now. And so if this is like really resonating with you, like you're like, okay, I want answers, like I need to know, like here is where to start. So first off, like I do have my free training. That is like one of the first steps. It does walk you through your type. There's 5 layers, like I said, of the Nourishment Code. That is one part of it. But this is such a great training just to get like even introduced to human design and your type specifically. I will link it in the show notes, but it's called The Reason You Mom the Way You Do. And then if you want to know like more specific, I do think like this Nourishment Code will be like, it will be like a revolution. Like I'm so excited. I need to like make sure like I get this like trademarked because like this is something that I haven't found any other person teaching like human design with and combining the two. So I am doing sessions because I'm so excited about these. I will put the link in the show note if you do want your specific Nourishment Code. What I've been doing for my clients is so once you purchase it, you will get an email, you have a quick form that you fill out, and then your form, once I get that, I will do a pre-recorded session just kind of explaining to you like what your code is, but I also give you a PDF that is laid out in writing that is yours forever. It's never going to change. So if you ever need to like revert back to it, or if you need like a deeper question about it, like I'm here for that. But it is delivered to you within 24 hours after you purchase it. So I will, like I said, also put the link in the show notes. But I just want to say that our bodies, we've been given the answer to really like how truly we are supposed to nourish ourselves. And if you don't act on it, like it's just like mind-boggling to me that like you wouldn't want to know, because like this has been so exciting for me, and like I am, a true testament. Like I know human design works, but didn't realize like it can work so well in wellness. And I feel like, this is what I was doing in my when I was specifically fitness coaching before, but like this is on a whole different level of fitness coaching, because like it's truly I would craft these plans for people, like I said, of like what my best recommendation was of like what I would do. And like there's, a situation I would take into accountability. But, some people wouldn't open up as much, or wasn't enough time. Like it takes time to get to know people. This is the roadmap. This is your custom, wellness plan. So I just want to say that I know this stuff works. And if you're ready and open, this is the moment that will change your life. I have 100% confidence in it. 100% confidence that this will change your life. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. And I can't wait to see you next time.